Pledge of Allegiance, please rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will now introduce Mary Dow, who's our district attorney, and she will go through the procedures and the process for this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Menchaca. I would phrase it a little bit differently to members of the audience who may not appreciate the distinction. I am an attorney for the district. I am not a district attorney.
Absolutely, that's right.
Anybody can get the idea that I'm an idiot. I am an attorney with the law firm of Liebert, Cassidy, Whitmore, and our firm works with the San Gabriel Unified School District on legal issues and provides legal advice to the board. And Mrs. Menchaca has asked me at the outset of this board meeting to provide a very brief overview to the board members and to the members of the public regarding the legal process of how this board meeting is going forward. I am going to be describing the procedures. I'm not going to be commenting on any substance of any matter. This is a special meeting of the Board of Education. It was called by the president of the Board of Education. The board president has the authority under the California Government Code to call a special meeting. The meeting was originally intended to include just a closed session on 2 personnel matters. Now, one of those matters is a very routine employee discipline discussion, and it has no relevance to the public portion of the session at all. I just want you to understand why it says 2 matters on the agenda. The other matter is a little bit more complex, and it is the reason why all of you are here. That employee matter arose out of some concerns which the board president and 1 other board member have about a district employee. The board president consulted me for legal advice regarding the correct way to bring her concerns and the concerns of the other board member to the attention of the board itself. I concluded that her concerns included specific complaints about the employee. Now, under the Brown Act, and some of you have heard of the Brown Act, it is also sometimes called the Open Meetings Act. Under the Brown Act, when complaints are heard by the board about a specific employee, then there is a specific procedure that must be followed. The employee about whom the complaints have arisen must be given notice and must be given a chance to ask that the complaints be heard by the board in an open meeting. When the employee makes that request, then the complaints are then made in an open session portion of the board. In addition, members of the public have the right to speak to the board just as they always do on agenda items. So that's the procedure that we're going to follow. The board members will explain to their fellow board members in the public portion of the session their complaints. Then, members of the public who have requested to speak will be given the opportunity to speak. Now, after that, and after the board has heard from the members of the public, the board will go into its closed session to deliberate on this matter. If the board takes any action in closed session, and if reporting is required by law, then the board will come out and report. So that's what's going to be happening this evening. I'm turning now to the members of the board to ask if any of the members of the board have any questions about this process that they want me to address. Thank you very much.
Okay. So at this point, the statement will be made by the 2 board members, and I will just read them. Okay. As requested by Sharron Heinrich, principal of Gabrielino High School.
Can I hear you very well? Yes. Static.
We're trying to find that happy point where it's not too close, but not so far away that you can't hear us.
Testing, testing. Is that better? Testing? Testing? Okay, good. Okay, here we go. As requested by Sharron Heinrich, principal of Gabrielino High School, this is a public summary of the concerns and complaints brought by two members of the board for which they have requested deliberation in closed session this evening. Board members Denise Ventraka and Colleen Doan have lost confidence in the long-term leadership abilities of the principal of Gabrielino High School, and that they believe she's been ineffective in facilitating or implementing changes identified as priorities within the district and within the educational master plan. Specifically as follows. A, these two board members, myself and Colleen Doan, have grave concerns about her leadership abilities, including the ability to effectively supervise and manage members of her staff. B, these two board members believe she has resisted implementing changes and providing leadership for important district-wide priorities, including but not limited to, number one, lack of ability or willingness to work with the governing board, the district, and local leaders to influence educational policies and programs. Number two, lack of effective strategies for the desired level of community outreach and involvement by parents, students, and community organizations. Number three, lack of communication with the superintendent and the board on agendized items. Number four, lack of oversight and implementation of grant-related projects, clubs, and educational materials. Number five, lack of leadership, vision, and goal setting for career technology education, college counseling, individual student plans.
I'm out.
Okay. Testing. You hear me? Okay. Number five, lack of leadership, vision, and goal setting for career technology education, college counseling, individual student plans, athletic activities, and field use. Number six, lack of proactive support programs in addressing student safety and drug use. That concludes our public summary. As a reminder, all discussion and deliberation by the board is required to take place in closed session. However, if there are clarifying questions for the board members, I will take them at this time. Are there any? No? Okay. The board will now hear public comment on any of the closed session items. First speaker, Lee Freeman. 2 minutes, I'm sorry. It's 2 minutes per speaker, please. No, you are the first one. It's 2 minutes. I forgot to mention.
It strikes me that what you're doing here certainly has come as a surprise to me. I am somewhat of an observer of district activities, having served on this board for 13 and a half years up until 2 years ago. And it strikes me that the complaints and the specifics you have there, 7 of them I think, are not closed session items per se. So it strikes me that those sorts of complaints are really not, I'm not at all sure, I'm not sure I would agree that they are entitled to be discussed in closed session. If you're going to talk about failure of Sharron Heinrich on those 6 or 7 points, it seems to me they should be discussed in open session. You're talking about field use, you're talking about technology programs, and I have to believe from having attended previous board meetings that your concern is over how the wind turbines of the high school were dealt with. I believe your concern has to do with the field use, etc. Those don't strike me as being entitled to closed session discussion. So that's what I have to say. If I have more time, I might comment later.
Thank you. Chandra Strong.
We just came off of a WASP visit. I was on the WASP leadership team. This is what they had to say. More than one. You should bottle what you have and sell it to other schools. 7 strangers came to our Gabrielino campus. They spent 4 days with us, and they came to the conclusion that Gabrielino High School is special, that the administration is the lead of why we are so special, and that Sharron is doing an excellent job. As you can see, there are many people in this room that will agree with them. We are in the top with 10% of all high schools in California. We wouldn't be there without Sharron pushing us to constant and never-ending improvement.